is going on? I hope everybody is doing well tonight. It's your guy Ashiwa Ashi pulling up to the scene and having a good time. How we doing? It is Monster Hunter Monday. For the record, I do apologize. I was going to stream earlier, but I got wrapped up in other things. So I'm bringing late night story times to you. It's gonna be some. I don't even know how to express it. Just ride out for a minute. Alright, so without further ado, I'm gonna go ahead and get started. Again, it's Monster Hunter Monday. Um, sorry it had to be a little late night edition, but I'm fine with that. Um, but again, it would have been a little earlier, but I got caught up uh, playing the anime version of Breath of the Wild. Um, a good friend of mine got me into it, and it's just amazing how much it goes back and forth in between. But it is a good thing if you have it on PC, mobile, or PS4. It is cross compatible, and the game is called Genshin Impact. So I would personally recommend you downloading it. Although if you download it on PC, it's gonna take a little longer than doing it on console. I can't really give you an estimate of time, but I know for me, it took about 4 hours, maybe 5. But meh. So I'm not gonna make this a super long stream. It's definitely gonna be an hour because yeah, an hour is good enough. Well, you know what? We're gonna cut that. I'm gonna do. I'm gonna do an expedition and hunt two big monsters. After two big monsters, that should be enough for two stories. Um, yeah, so I'm gonna just hunt two big monsters. So let's see. The topic of this is grocery store chronicles, or grocery chronicles. Yeah, you could guess. I'm gonna tell you stories about grocery stores, and not in general as like me going to a grocery store and shopping. No, I'm telling you the whole deal of when I worked at the grocery store. There are some good times, bad times, but as I quote every time, a job is a job. No matter how big, how small, how easy, how rough it is, a job is a job. But before I get started, let me at least get to the expedition because that'll make it fair. But again, as I tell y'all, go ahead and download Genshin Impact. It is definitely a free game, mobile, PS4, and PC. If you like Breath of the Wild, but you want to play with friends, like it's a D&D or a four player quest guild kind of game, Genshin Impact is it's like anime based D&D in a way, or anime based Breath of the Wild. Yeah, anime based Breath of the Wild. Also, let me know how your day was. Let's see. We are. You know what? I might as well just go ahead and do the mission. But yeah, it's a good night for sure. Not much has been going on. Still in COVID crisis. Wherever you are, whoever is watching, I hope you and your family are safe. I know it's rough times out here, but we gotta do what we gotta do, and we definitely gotta live and keep living.
It's been a while since we've done this, huh? Want to start by taking a stroll around?
No, not. Ugh. Okay. So let's get into it. Grocery Store Chronicles. The first story I will tell you is the time I had Thanksgiving at my job, and I felt like I was gonna have a heart attack. So pretty much y'all know Thanksgiving. Thanksgiving is when, you get your turkeys, your ham, your collard green, cornbread, mac and cheese. Don't get me started on mac and cheese. If you can't make mac and cheese, I need you to learn how to make it. And if you do know how to make mac and cheese, but it's disgusting, we gonna go to the kitchen together and get it right. Cause no mac and cheese deserves to be nasty. That's like one of my favorite dishes. And I shouldn't judge nobody on their mac and cheese, but I will. But I used to work at Food Lion. Sorry for the big bomb drop. But it was a good time working at Food Lion. Always a good time greeting people, doing customer service, bagging groceries, and everything. But I had this boss that I used to work with. I'm gonna call her Miss Thing because I'm not gonna be name dropping no names either. So Miss Thing used to be the bomb.com when working with us. Ew, I just picked up dung. But yeah, she used to be the bomb.com. Well, still is the bomb.com. I love her to death. But I'm not going back to that story, even though I've been asked to come back. And it's like, I got other things to do. I got life to live. I got better jobs to get. But pretty much me, Miss Thing had a good relationship between coworker and manager, and then had a separate. I can't say separate. We balanced out work and life moments. Like, you know, handle business and then personal in two different ways. Like, if you could do that, you're the G. Like, the bomb.com G. Oh, what are these? Huh. But yeah, we pretty much balanced out work and personal business, and you know, kept it clean like we were supposed to. And then when it came to, you know, just working, it was fine. But she took care of her front end no matter how hard it got. Like, this lady would be pulling over 60 to 80 hours in the work week and everything. But that's besides the fact. So cut to Thanksgiving of 2016. I want to say it was like 2015, 2016. I'll say 2015. It was my first Thanksgiving with the store, because you know there's such thing as, you know, having your own Thanksgiving at your own house, and then you got your work Thanksgiving. And I pretty much went to work Thanksgiving because, I mean, I had to work at the same time. I mean, come on, who could blame you? But, okay, I thought I found another dung. But cut to the chase. I went to work, and, you know, Thanksgiving, usually it's the day before Thanksgiving. That's the roughest. But I'm gonna warn y'all, like, don't treat grocery workers like crap on Thanksgiving, because we put up a lot with people in general. Like, everybody puts up with somebody in a way. But when it comes to grocery stores, like, I noticed, like, you got some people that will treat grocery workers with respect, but then you have most that won't. And it's like, come on. We're doing you a service. At least be real with it. Like, don't BS somebody because you just feel like you could do it. We all work hard, and at the end of the day, we want to live too. Ain't no stopping you with your coin. But, so yeah, I'm working, in and out, getting the line down, working with everybody else because it's the day of, and, we're trying to go home and get our meal on with our own family and stuff. Um, and cutting those lines down is not as easy. Well, I'm not gonna say not as easy because it is easy, but you got to be on it. You can't just be BS and say, "Oh, I'm gonna get it done. I'm gonna get it done." No, you really, 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 really got to be on it. Like I would say, like working grocery is easy, but if you don't know your basic math or you don't know how to multitask, or ooh, kingly cactus, or just manage your time and control the environment, then you would definitely have a hard time. And plus, to back it up, you gotta have good customer service skills. Like, you can't just be popping off at the mouth at people like they're your own siblings. No. You gotta be respectful and responsible for what you came to work with. But yeah, after a long day of, working hard and no, it was the fact that we had to party while we was working. So it was like early in the afternoon, and we just had a lot going on between having people coming in for last minute stuff and making sure we had to get our breaks. And at the time, I was just running register. I wasn't doing no customer service or anything. But we had to get those lines down before going to break. And sometimes it would just be hard because you can't just get the lines down and then run off. Like, you gotta make sure it's clear enough for you to go and somebody can replace you. But got the lines going, moved it on. It got to like 4 hours. I think at least 4 hours after. Yeah, it got to like 4 hours after I started working on that day because those lines were intense. And I was just like, oh my God. Because the day before and the day of is always like the two baddest days to work with. And you just don't know how to deal with it because you're like mentally exhausted. It's not even physically because honestly, except for moving, cases of water or drinks, stuff that a mom or a grandma would ask their kids or grandkids to pick up for them because, it's heavy. Except for those things like that, you're just mentally exhausted because you have to deal with the fact of, being nice and at the same time telling people they can't get what they can get because they can't either pay for it or the coupon is not really real. It's a lot, but speeding up the story, it was 4 hours after I got on shift. I'm getting a little drained out. My boss, Miss Thang, she was working her way. She was working her way around and doing what she had to do. And at the same time, she took her own breaks to, go home and get stuff that she cooked for the store. for Thanksgiving, and it was like the first time I've had a workers' Thanksgiving. And I was in awe because you don't normally. Well, I can't speak for everybody, but you don't when you first step into a workplace, like you don't really associate with getting no work food. Like you're just not thinking, oh, like I get to eat for free. Like you're paying, and it's like not even you're paying, but you made something for me to eat, and it's like, oh my god, like thank you. Like you don't know what to do. But yeah, so she spent time and she made everything. When I'm telling you, she made mac and cheese, she made yams, she made chicken, she made slow cooked barbecue meatballs. She had the greens. She had the biscuits. She had the deviled eggs. Ooh, like it was just everything. And all I could say was like, oh wow, like this is Thanksgiving at a workplace. And I got off the line and she told me, go to the break room and get yourself something to eat. And I was like, okay. But back on to the thing. So pretty much, yeah, she just cut my light off and was like, come in, get something to eat. Take a 30-minute break. And I'm like, okay. I'm going to take my break. And I clocked out because, you got to clock out on your lunch break and stuff. And I just did what I had to do. I went and got me some food. But instead of, just, sitting, like getting your food and then going to the break room, like we had a whole different break room set up for all the food that everybody bought. And I was like, okay, like, this is about to be good. Sit down, have me some good food. It's about to be on. So I gets all the food and everything. I go and sit down with my plate. And I see her come back in because she's going back and forth between, serving food and managing outside. And she's like, don't forget to get your drink. And I'm like, okay, like, can't forget my drink. Like, I don't, it's not that I don't want to forget it. I need to survive with a drink. So, I done got my chicken, my barbecue meatballs, my rice, my greens. I got everything. I'm feeling snazzy and nice. And then, oh, that's a tiny barrel. But when I got the drink, it was just, oh my god! Like I never had a heart attack like that before. I mean, it wasn't even a bad heart attack. It was one of those heart attacks that you wanted to keep doing on purpose, but you were scared to do it again because you thought it might have got you. But it was a good it was a good piece of, well, it was a good drink of Kool-Aid. I'll just say that. But it was just, oh my God. Like, okay, let me just ask, have y'all ever had something so sweet that it was just teeth core rotten, or it just, it raised your blood pressure to the max? Like, it raised your blood pressure to the max. And you couldn't help but you know, feel restless about it. Like, that's how bad that Kool-Aid was to me. Like, it wasn't bad, it was delicious for sure. But my teeth was, you know, it was just like, ooh. And so I had drunk the Kool-Aid, ate some food, and I had a good time. But yeah, that Kool-Aid was off the chain. This is so tiny. It's so cute that it's small. Oh, but it's wrecking my life with a lot of Mickey and Beefy. Oh, man. But yeah, that Kool-Aid was just a whole nother world of Kool-Aid. I don't even know what to say. Like, it really was. I was over here just not retching, but I was over here trying to figure out how to drink Kool-Aid without, you know, without dying. But all well ends well. That Thanksgiving was everything. And the food was good and everything. This thing put her hands, ankles, toes, everything in it. And that food, I didn't even know how to express love for the food. Like, it was just so much love poured into it. This thing is so tiny. But yeah, pretty much that Kool-Aid was off the chain. And then when I went back to work, it's like I drank a 5-hour energy and couldn't go back to sleep. Jesus, man. This thing is mad. What did I do? Okay, maybe it's the tiniest ones that cause the biggest problem. Be the tiniest ones that cause the biggest problem. Oh man. These tiny ones be causing the most problems. This thing hitting like a truck. Oh man, you got to go. It's like you had all that sass. Your little bad self can't go to sleep. Did about Thanksgiving. I think I worked there for 2.5 years. But yeah, 2.5 years of work, 2.5 years of Thanksgiving. Every year she made this Kool-Aid that just took my very soul. It took everybody's soul. It really did. it took everybody's soul and it gave them adrenaline, like a 5 hour energy shot, and it was just amazing. Like I didn't know what to say. Um, and what was bad enough was like you felt everything after drinking that dang Kool Aid. Like your heart was racing, your eyes was dilated. And the worst part is like, after that lunch break, um, my butt was so wired up, I knocked out the last 4 hours of work and went home. Like that was it. I couldn't believe it myself. And every year I had some of that Kool-Aid, I realized like, nah, that's that's a diabetic attack right there. And I was like, you know what? I'm gonna just have to call it quits. I'm just gonna have to stop drinking the Kool-Aid. And lo and behold, I stopped. Once I stopped, that was it. Then it just got it just got everybody one good year. Like I want to say it was 2018 when it happened. But everybody had some of that Kool-Aid and woo. Like I've never seen a hype store until drinking some of that Kool-Aid. I think that's the reason why I stopped drinking Kool-Aid myself. Cause once I had it that sweet, I was like, my teeth had enough. My mind had enough. I think I got a headache from drinking that. And like I said, I love her to death, but I actually watched her make the Kool-Aid too. This thing dropped a bag of sugar in there, and I'm like, okay, And she was like, can you go buy me, some extra sugar because I put too much water in it. I'm like, okay, So I went and, got it. She paid for it. Had good relations. So, I didn't have to worry about that. But when I gave her the other pack of sugar, I thought she was going to empty like a quarter and take the rest home. No, homegirl said the whole bag. And I looked at it, looked at her, and looked back at the Kool-Aid. And I'm like, this is the reason why we can't go home normally. Like, this is why we be hyped up, crunk, and getting people in and out. I'm like, it's not a bad thing because you making us work harder. But it's not a good thing because it's making our heart work harder. And, we don't need that high blood pressure, heart attack drama. And what was bad was, everybody didn't get to finish all the food from Thanksgiving. And the Kool-Aid was the thing that stayed too. And so all that had to go. And it was like, okay, who's taking what home? And, everybody got what they wanted. I got some barbecue meatballs, mac and cheese, and rice to go home. Everybody got what they wanted. But then when it came to the drinks, guess what was left? Kool-Aid. Like all the seltzer water, all the sodas and everything were gone. The only thing that was left was the Kool-Aid. And it was about 2 jugs worth.
Huh?
2 jugs.
Look at this trail.
And them 2 jugs worth,
Puke? What in the new world
2 of us
here?
that worked took it home. One of them was me, and another one was someone else. Hey, key car. But yeah. But I think it was safe to say that was the last time I drank Kool-Aid like that, because when I tell you I had
Hey, this
felt
is a rafting
everything,
trail. Wait,
I
what?
felt everything.
That can't be right. Something's wrong.
I mean, you can trust Kool-Aid, but you just can't. I am.
It is a puke puke. It's acting weird. What's going on? New target. Let's get that puke puke.
Ooh. But yeah, that Kool-Aid was severe.
Watch yourself.
On the handler, are we talking about the handler in this game or grocery store handler? Oh, I don't know. I haven't really thought about it in that way. But I mean, I like everything.
This puke puke is
I mean,
tougher than usual.
I wish there was like more. Cause I mean, she's okay. Like her personality is actually pretty quirky and cool. But I just need a little bit more. Like, you could tell they worked hard. Like, they worked hard in making her how she is. But it's like, I kind of want more than, you know, just somebody with a pretty face that can cook. Even though that's all they wanted you to get out of the whole thing. Ooh. The tongue took me out. Alright. Yeah, I mean, I don't objectify her or, you know, go against how she is. Like, she's very good. Like, I like the fact that she can actually give you something to eat. Otherwise, I mean, a lot of people could say that she is useless. But, I mean, in a sense, this is kind of better because you could eat before embarking on the quest. I enjoy it. But, okay. Second story. Ooh. I will tell you the time. It's gonna still be a grocery store chronicle, and this is gonna be a last story before, you know, I shut it down, because I should be running into an hour. But pretty much the time I worked in a grocery store, and I had I don't want to say stalker because that's a little hard, but I had somebody that was you know, paying a little too much attention to me. So this was still in my first year of working at Food Line, and what happened? I had this one customer that always came to the store. He was nice, you know. It was a good customer. You get your rare good customers at a grocery store, and I enjoyed having, you know, good customers. But there's such thing as having too good of a customer. like where they just too good for you. Well, not even too good for you, but you don't expect them to go over the top for you. Like, ooh, I am tearing it up. Go me. It did go fast. Oh my god. So yeah, pretty much this guy always came to the store. He was a Hispanic guy. And it was just amazing because, you know, at the time I was, you know, still young, out of college, you know, just trying to get a good, decent paycheck. And this guy would always come to the store, a happy mood. He did something like construction. And I would just be, you know, just chilling, doing my job, and getting my line down. Because, you know, I'm not concerned about, well, I'm not going to say I'm not concerned about nobody's life, per se. But I'm more concerned about, you know, going home after working hard. Okay, where's this thing going? Okay, it's going that way. But yeah, pretty much. This guy, he was just nice. He would come in, get his, you know, vegetables or his clamato for his beverage. And it would just be that. And I was like, okay, you know, it's not a problem. But he will always come to my line. And at first, I thought nothing of it. I was like, you know, I shouldn't be scared because, you know, this guy is just, he's just being a customer. A customer that loves the cashier. And you know, there's nothing wrong with that. But I noticed every day, every time I saw him, he would stop at my line. Like, it wasn't anybody else. It was always my line. And I was like, okay, you know, I don't see nothing wrong. It shouldn't be that bad until, you know, one day he decided to talk. I was like, you know, hey, how are you? Because, you know, we're supposed to be friendly and everything, you know, show that good customer service. And he was like, you know, I'm fine, how are you? And I'm like, oh, I'm fine, you know. How's your day going? He's like, it's good, it's very good. How about yours? I'm like, it's fine as well, you know, I'm just ready to go home. He was like, oh, really? He was like, I'm not ready for you to go home. I was like in my mind, I was like, excuse me? But I had to be, you know, reasonable. And I was like, you know, why aren't you ready for me to go home? And he was like, because you're one of my favorite cashiers. And I'm like, oh, okay, you know, I thought a bit over my head. Okay, you know, it's fine. And he was like, yeah, like, you're awesome. And I'm like, oh, thank you. You know, I can't be mad now because it's not creepy. And then it just got, you know, a little worse every day because I would, you know, come to work, do my 9 to 5, and he would be there. And I'd be like, oh, okay, you know, see him again, but, you know, there's other lines. Like, my line is full, and the other line be empty. Like, it was like one day my line was so backed up, it was going down the aisle. And I was doing a good pace, but you know, I had a lot of people coming to my line because I was getting people in and out fast. Yeah, it was like the Kill Bill theme did play every time he showed up. But I mean, he wasn't like Kill Bill material. It was just off the chain weird. But back to what I was saying, like I would just be getting a lot of people out of my line, and he'd be standing all the way at the end of the aisle waiting for my whole line to disappear. Meanwhile, I have, you know, Keisha and Raekwon in the back, and you know, their lines is empty.
We should head back and report to the commander.
Their lines are empty, but nobody's going straight to their line. And so, you know, I was going to tell Miss Thing, you know, like, this guy keeps coming to my line. I don't know what to say about it. But I was like, you know, I gotta be a guy and, you know, take care of it myself. Like, it's not that bad. And, you know, lo and behold, it got worse. So, the guy would come to my job almost, not every day, but every week. So I would get used to seeing him once or twice a week. Rare occasions, 3 times. But he would casually come and he would wait in line for me to finish up and, you know, check. And one day he came through and I was like, you know, hey, how you doing? He was like, you know, I'm fine, and you? I was like, good. I was like, how's your day? He was like, oh man, it was hard at work. He was like, I do construction, you know, hard work. I was like, yeah, it is pretty hard. Like, every job is hard in its own ways, but you know, you do your 9 to 5 and, you know, get used to it like how we get used to it. And he was like, yeah. I'm like, yeah. Wait, you get it? He was like, yeah. And he was like, I go all over the place. I go different states. And I'm like, okay, yeah, that's cool. He was like, yeah. And yeah, it's just fun and I get to do things. And I'm like, yeah, that's very cool. You do a lot of construction. He was like, yeah, I work on buildings all day. It'd be so hot. I'm like, yeah. And he was like, I be sweating. And I'm like, okay, yeah, I know. We all sweat too. And he's like, yeah. He was like, you know, it'd be nice. And he was like, maybe you can come with me sometime. And I'm like, I was like, sorry, I can't really do construction. You gotta have a license for that. He was like, no, I can get you in there. And he was like, I was like, nah, that's not my forte. I think I'm good here. And he was like, oh, that's okay. He was like, well, maybe you could come with me, you know? And I'm like, come with you where? And he was like, you know, like when I go out of town. And I'm like, what? And he's like, yeah, like, you know, next place I'm going is Seattle. Yeah, I go to Seattle. Maybe I could fly you out there with me. And I'm like, first of all, if that was a pickup line, I've never been ran on like that by another guy in my life. And that was years ago when that happened. I was, what, like in my prime 20s when that happened. But I was just like, oh my God. Like, my guy just, you know, asked me to go to Seattle with him. And I was like, I don't even, like, this was the young me. At that point, like, you know, everything was black or white. There was no gray. Like, my mind was just racing on each side of the pendulum. And I was like, who is this man to even, you know, say stuff like that? Like, I don't even know him. Like, is he flirting with me? Like, I didn't know what was going on. Like, everything was racing in my head at the time. And I went and became honest. And I was like, look here, I can't do that. I can't do that for you. I can't sit here and, you know, say, yes, I will not. Like, most of that I said in my head. But when I responded to him, I was like, no, I'm sorry. I can't. I gotta stay here. And he was like, oh. He was like, well, at least I could see you next time. I was like, okay. And it got to the point where, like, he would come every time and I would dodge. Like, literally, I would duck under my kiosk, or not even my kiosk, my checkout line, and wait for him to go past. Even though I know I could see him, you know, coming inside the store or, you know, exiting the store. It was just off the chain. I was like, yeah, no. Like, he's coming in the store. And some days I couldn't avoid him and I would be nice and, you know, have customer service and everything. But it just became weird after that. He would come to the store, get his beer, get his chips, get whatever he wanted that day. Always come to me with a big smile. And it was horrible. Because it was one day I told one of my coworkers who was my customer service supervisor before I became it. And I talked to her about it. And she said, do you need me to help you? Like, at first she laughed and kikied because it was hilarious how it was happening. Like, I never encountered that before. So we were laughing and kikiing about it. And I showed her him. And she was like, okay, like, I don't see what's the problem. So one day she came and stood behind me as, you know, it was nighttime and I was about to go home. But she watched as I was, you know, checking people out. And he got in that line and she looked at him with like the weary smile, like, you see that there's other lines, but you still jumped in this one. Like, the whole store was empty, but he still stood in my line, even though my line was packed up again. And like, he just stood there waiting. And then when he came to my line, he did the smile, did the talk and everything. And my coworker looked at me and she was like, ooh, like, I was like, yeah, I was dead serious when I said. She was like, what did you do to him? I was like, I didn't do shit. Ooh, I'm sorry. I didn't do squat. I was like, it happens every time. And so when she finally saw it, she tried doing something about it. So the next time he came to the store, she kikied again to me about it. And then she was like, look, I got you. And so it was like 7:50, 10 minutes before it was time for me to go. And she cut off my light for my register because she knew that he was about to come to my register. And she she cut off my light and I walked. I was finishing up a customer. And that was supposed to be my last customer. He got his beer real quick and came to my line. And she came straight to my line. And she looked at him and she was like, sir, like, it's time for him to go. Like, that was his last customer. You could go to any other line. He was like, but I want to go to this line. And she was like, sir, he has to go. Like, it's time for him to go. Like, I'm over here going wide-eyed because, like, he's literally fighting for me to stay there. And he was like, but I'm already here. Like, I should be able to check out right here. And she was like, you know what? She took over my register and told me to go ahead and clock out as, like, he was still in line and I was still finishing up a checkout order. Like, I explained everything about the checkout order before, you know, leaving. But she pretty much said, you know, go ahead and leave. And I'm like, oh, okay. So as I'm walking, I did the one thing you can't do. And I looked back. He said, wait, can you describe his face? His face was squarish, not too much squinty eyes, but kind of there. It was definitely a nearly flat face. He had like baby hair curls, thick eyebrows. Yeah, like it was just a whole package, and I was like, woo, like, nah. But yeah, so I did the one thing you shouldn't do, and that was look back. And as soon as I looked back, it's like he looked at me and did a whole frown, like I betrayed him or something. And I was like, oh my god. And I just turned back around and went to go clock out and get my stuff to go home. And at the time, like, we didn't even know his name. Like, I didn't even ask him his name because, you know, he never mentioned it. But, you know, he said my name. But I didn't want to know, you know, a customer's name. If they told me, that's a different thing. And, you know, if it became a daily thing, you know, good customer service to customer and, you know, getting to know the community, I would. But, you know, there's some things you just don't want to know about people. He was one of them. And pretty much he just, you know, sat there and said, like, he just stood there, like, looking sad. But he still got checked out by my friend. And after that, like, it was it.
Since we resolved the mystery
It was it.
surrounding Zora
And
Magnus, I've received
I was
some
just,
alarming news.
I was just blown out of my mind about that. And the worst part is that it happened more than that one time. Because even with that one time, like, it just died out. And, you know, he went MIA for, like, you know, about half a year. I wasn't concerned. Because after that, I was like, you know, cool. Like, that's cool. And then when he came back, and I was like, oh, like, he's back. And I guess he was trying to hurt me because he started avoiding my line. But he would look at my line like he wanted to go to it, but then turn around and avoid it. And I was like, oh, okay. Like, at that point, like, I didn't harbor anything. I was just like, it's just another work day. And then, go and behold, like, I thought it would keep moving. And then, you know, there were some other times he did come back and try to chat up again and everything. And it was like, okay. No, still not interested. But I mean, you're a good customer. Thank you for coming to shop. And it's like, I think it drove a wedge for him. Because for me, I was confused when I was younger about that whole scenario. But I think what really drove the pin was the time he came to the store after it was closing, and you could tell he was intoxicated because he came straight to the store and he was like, hey! And at the time, I was just closing up and getting carts from outside because, you know, we have to clean the lot for carts and, you know, put it. Yeah, she did. But what? Look, at the benefit, I wasn't giving nothing up for no. I didn't roll like that. I still don't. But it was just funny. But he came back and I was just getting carts, clearing the lot, and I had took on a huge load of carts. I'm talking about like 30, pushing it all the way straight to the entrance of the grocery store. and it was on a slope. So, like, just
Field team
pushing
reports they're
carts
observing
going
ships and monster
slantly
behavior,
downhill
mainly invading other territories.
is already bad enough because you gotta try to hold it back. I don't know what happened. I didn't ignite anything. I was just talking. But apparently, I talk or smile too much when I'm doing customer service. Or have good communication skills.
On top of this
But
disturbing information is the sudden appearance of older and more
pretty much
powerful
he came to the
monsters.
store drunk. And I didn't realize that it was him until like the last minute. And when I say the last minute, here's what happened. So I'm over
Much
here
more powerful
pushing
than the types
30
of monsters
carts,
we're used to
going
seeing
in.
around here.
I'm like, it's time to go home. I'm ready to go home. As soon as I get these carts rolling, all I hear is, hey, it's my buddy. And I'm like, huh? And I turn around. Excuse me. I don't turn around. I turn my eyes. Like, I glance to the right of my view. And I see this
A number of
man
hunters have already been hurt.
jogging.
Some with very serious
And it was not even like a fast jog. It was like one of those. Like, my mind didn't even play it in Baywatch. He was running like it was Baywatch. That's how bad it was. And I'm like, so I'm just pushing these carts, and he jumps on the carts while I'm pushing it, and he's laughing and giggling. And I'm like, I had to stop. And at the time, yeah, like it was a peripheral stare, but I stopped pushing the carts because at some point I was like, I don't need nothing happening while I'm working. And so the security guard saw it, and she came outside. Mind you, i.e., I did tell the security guard the same story, like, and she kikied about it and didn't think it was that serious until she saw it, and she was like, oh my God, like, what's going on? Like, what happened with him? But she came out while I was trying to get the carts, and he was laughing, giggling, and she came out and she was like, sir, you can't be jumping on the carts while he's pushing it. She was like, that's dangerous. You could get hurt, and then he could also get hurt himself. I mean, I stopped so I didn't trip over the carts, but it was
I believe
just,
the fifth has more
it
information
was just
like
shocking.
that.
And he was like, oh no, I just wanted to say hey to him. And it's like he tried to run at me, and she saw it, and she was like, sir, I need you to leave him alone so he could do his work, and so he could leave. He was like, oh, he was like, okay, well, it was good seeing you, buddy. And it was like he was drunk, and I was like, yeah, good seeing you. And I was like, I didn't know what was going on, and I just
Yes,
felt
sir.
bad for
The
him.
other day, we discovered a strange trail
But
in the
at
wildfire
at the
waste.
end, I couldn't really feel bad at the same time either, because I mean, I didn't do nothing, and he didn't do nothing. So it was one of those gray areas, like who is right, who is wrong, and at the end, it was like nobody's fault. But it just, I was like, wow, like, I don't know. Like, I just don't know. And after that encounter, I pushed the carts inside, locked them in, helped the supervisor close the store, and I didn't see him after that, so I just went straight home. Couple years, a year passed. I became a supervisor. Now I'm helping everybody out on the floor, with the manager and everything. not the red, not the incarnate red, but yeah, pretty much. That whole year passed. I did see him from time to time. And it was like once or twice within the year he would come to my line and say hey and everything. But after that, like he just left me alone, and I was like, that's a-okay. Because I was too busy doing a lot of things. You know, managing the desk, handling lottery tickets, and, you know, just making sure the front line was doing fine. And I was still working my way into it, so I wasn't as A1 when I started, but it was getting there. But yeah, that was my strange encounter in the grocery store. Like I never had an encounter like that.
My opinion is that it belongs to a Rathian, but I'm not 100% sure. The size and other distinctive traits are there, but
yeah, it was definitely something. So between having a heart attack Kool-Aid that just gave you a 5-hour energy shot out of nowhere, and then having, you know, a stalker yet not stalker inside of a grocery store. I mean, working in a grocery store, you have your here and there. Everything's gonna happen working in a grocery store. That's why I say don't sweat the customer service workers too much in a grocery store. We already go through a lot when we have to deal with everybody personally, and then we can't just remember everybody word for word, because we gotta run through a lot of things while working through the grocery store. We gotta worry about ourselves, then we could worry about the customers. But we can't remember every customer's word for word. I mean, he technically didn't poof, but yeah, that was it. The guy was gone. Like he would come to the store once in a while. Like it was just no foul harm or no foul emotions. But I think he understood that there was no chemistry going to happen.
So, what do you suggest we do, Commander?
Our damn jobs. We're a research commission. Get to researching. And while we're at it, we
There
need
was
to achieve
no
two
chemistry
things.
going to happen. And not saying that, you know, if you shoot your shot in the grocery store, it's always going to be rejected. You got somebody else that's probably keeping an eye on you. But for me,
First,
at that time,
those
I was
dangerous
not
monsters
one
need
of
to be
those.
taken care
I
of.
was focused
We'll
on
be sending
getting
our
money.
best teams to each area. Second, we need to pick up where the fifth left off and gather more evidence on that new. While you're out there, keep your eyes
And
peeled
plus,
for any clues.
I mean, he dressed like, you know, constructionist. Like you see somebody with a white tee, jeans, and boots. Yeah, he would come in every day like that. On a rare occasion, he would come in clean,
understood, sir. We won't let you down.
like he was relaxing on a day.
Good, but exercise extreme caution.
And by the way,
These
he did
monsters
look
are
like
nothing like
mad
the ones
older
you've
than me.
encountered
He
before.
looked like he was in his 30s, like his upper 30s.
Dismissed.
Ooh, I guess rank
Look
6
for evidence
quest.
across the
Yay.
continent. Rathian or not, we need to find that monster. And listen up.
But
Okay, partner?
that
We need to
brings
find more of our mystery monsters
about the
We should
end
check
of
every region.
Monster Hunter
You can go on an
Mondays.
expedition or an optional quest. Take your pick.
As I promised, it was only going to be an hour session tonight. Ooh, it went all the way. Ooh. I probably will. Oh my god. Let me see. For some reason, it just did all that. Oh, that's why. It closed out the game. I'm gonna open it back up so it'll make it better. At least you could watch the opening screen as I close out. But yeah, it was definitely I know I can yeah, it was definitely weird. But I can't wait to get that Raytheon installment, that Raytheon armor. But yeah, I'm glad you had a good time. Thank you for coming and watching Monster Hunter Mondays with the Grocery Store Chronicles. I am Ashiwa Ashi, and you have a good night.